Hey y'all, what's good, what's poppin'? So I'm not going to do an intro today. I'm honestly about to just go off. I honestly feel like the title of this video is intro enough. So we're just going to go ahead and get into it. Thank you to all my new and returning subscribers for being here. If you're new here, if you haven't already, if you want to stick around and see my content, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell button for notifications. So let's just get into it. First things first, I just want to go ahead and extend an apology to everybody out there who has no idea what's going on. If you don't know who DaBaby is, you haven't heard what mess he's gotten into in the past couple of days, I'm really sorry for disturbing your peace, honestly, but it disturbed mine, so I had to come on here and say something because I just can't keep this to myself. I'm honestly just like really disgusted with this man. This is not from the viewpoint of someone who was a fan who's now disappointed and changed their mind. Like, no, I was never Team DaBaby in the first place. Like, first of all, before we even get into the mess, let me just go ahead and be petty for a second. I can't take half these new rappers seriously, like not even talking about their music. As someone who grew up on late 90s, early 2000s rap, you know, I grew up listening to people like Fat Joe, Ja Rule, LL Cool J, those type rappers. And like, I'm sorry, but all these people that come out now, all their names, Lil Pump, Lil Yachty, and like DaBaby, I can't take you seriously if your name is DaBaby. You want to act like you go so hard because you're in rap, but your name is fucking DaBaby. Pardon my language. I can't take half y'all seriously just from the name alone. I don't even care if your music slaps. Like, if your name is something goofy, I can't take you seriously. So let's get into this apology that he released, because going through it, I'll touch on everything that I want to say. And I put apology in quotations here because it wasn't an apology. It wasn't even a half-assed apology. It was just a statement. Nothing about this was apologetic. Let's just go ahead and start there. Every media outlet referring to this as his apology, even if it's in air quotes, it wasn't an apology. It was a statement because he wasn't apologetic at all. So first of all, he starts off his statement basically talking about how he wrote this video, had 3 other people produce it, you know, spent 16 hours producing it, whatever, till 4 in the morning, got 2 hours of sleep before he went to Rolling Loud. Listen, I don't care. I'm not trying to sit here and shit on you. I'm not trying to say you don't work hard. But here's the thing. There's people out there that have talent that work just as hard, if not probably harder than you, that aren't and never will be on the scene. I don't care how much effort and work and labor you're putting into your craft, because it doesn't mean that you're immune from criticism. It doesn't mean that people can't call you out. And this whole idea that you can get away with being a shoddy person because you're talented, it needs to go. Like, we need to leave that back in the 20th century. It's a new millennium now. We don't play that game anymore. So basically, he starts off his statement trying to validate his credibility and, you know, talking about how much work he puts into it. Again, I don't care. I don't care. It's people that work way harder than you, that will never be on the scene, that are way more deserving of fame and having a platform, and that's just that. So I don't care. I really don't care. And then he's basically just talking about how, you know, it was one of the best performances ever, and now people are down his throat because of some insensitive things that he said. And that's really a way of putting it lightly. So let's go ahead and talk about what he really said. So I was really doing some surface level digging here. I wasn't trying to be on like a drama channel level, like up to date on all the info. Like, I wasn't really that pressed, but I had to see what was going on and get some context and whatnot. From what I gather, I guess, during his performance at Rolling Loud, it was 2 men in the audience that were making out, and for whatever reason, that just didn't sit right with DaBaby. He felt the need to say something about it. He felt the need to interject his opinion as if anyone cared, and he really felt the need to just sit here and just be ignorant. You know, he's sitting here talking about put your lighters up if you don't have AIDS or one of those sexually transmitted diseases. Like, okay, first of all, we need to end the stigma. I really doubt DaBaby is out here having safe sex 100% of the time. The fact of the matter is, I'm sure it was hella straight people that were doing that, and it didn't bother you. You didn't feel compelled to make a comment. But when you see a gay couple doing it, then that's when you feel the need to say something, and that's what doesn't sit right with me. You're perpetuating a stigma about HIV, AIDS, / STIs in general. It's not even just the fact that you brought it up, but it's the wording about it, you know, talking about any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll kill you in 2 to 3 weeks. First of all, that is not how it works. And he felt the need to follow that up with, guys, if you ain't sucking, you know what, in the parking lot, put your lighters up. Like, it's not necessary. Why did you feel compelled to do that? That's the thing that bothers me about the platform that celebrities have, is they think that just because they have it, that they're entitled to use it to say whatever they want. He's sitting here trying to victim blame the audience and, you know, the general public for being upset at his words. There's no sense of remorse at all with this apology. He's sitting here and trying to just kind of brush everything off as things being deemed as insensitive, and he tries to say that it's okay because he's an entertainer. And you're not immune to criticism for being famous. If anything, when you get criticized as a famous person, you should really sit there and reflect on the criticism and maybe act on it instead of getting all defensive and stuff like that. Because here's the thing, I don't know where celebrities have got it twisted, thinking that just because they cash bigger checks than the rest of us, that they aren't still part of the rat race and that they're not still bound by the rules and all that the rest of us are. Like, unless you're someone like Jay-Z, you know, someone that owns the record label that you're signed to, or, you know, someone that like owns the means to be your own person and sign your own check, you're still someone's employee. I don't care if you're making millions of dollars a year. If you're signed to somebody and you don't own that record label, you are still an employee. When you really think about entertainment, being an entertainer, thinking about it from the economic perspective, it's really not that much different from customer service. I mean, think about it. If you own a business and you don't have customers, you can't afford to pay your employees, you can't afford to pay your rent, you're not in business. It's the same way with being an entertainer. If you're an entertainer but you want to act ignorant in public to the point that you drive away your fans, you're not entitled to a career or an income or anything just because you're established or you're already an entertainer or you got a blue check mark on social media or this and that. Like, no, you are still beholden to your customers, which is your fans. If you piss them off, if they run away, guess what? There goes your career, there goes your job. He really tried to sit here in the apology and backpedal and say that he has no problem with anyone else's sexual preference, that a substantial amount of people refuse to understand his logic, which I'm not refusing to understand his logic, I just don't see any logic to be understood. And you want to sit here and backpedal and say you don't have a problem with people having a sexuality other than straight. So why did you feel the need to make those comments? Like, I'm sorry, but they weren't bothering you. I'm sure that you've been to hella venues and stuff like that and you know what goes on. I mean, people just do things in the crowd, but I mean, that's just how it is in public. I know you've seen that. So why you decided to make a big deal out of it this time, and specifically with a gay couple, I don't know. I don't know. But I'm not buying this whole you respect other people's sexuality, because clearly you don't. When you really take the whole situation in context, there's really no other way to put it other than, for whatever reason, this triggered something in you that you felt the need to speak up and say something. And the only reason it triggered something in you was because it was two men. I'm sorry, I really just don't understand this. I don't understand this whole thing where straight men are so obsessed with everyone else's sexuality. It's just so weird to me. Like, you do you and let everybody else do them. Your profession is a rapper. You're being paid to sit up there and perform your music, not give your opinions, okay? This ain't your talk show. And he keeps going on. He's sitting here and talking about, you know, we're playing with his character and they're doing everything to take money out of his pockets and food out of his kid's mouth. First of all, I'm so tired of people using kids as a crutch to be ignorant. It's so tired. If for some reason, you know, you lose all your sponsorship, your career never recovers, and you know, that does make it difficult for you to take care of your kids, I feel bad for your kids. I don't feel bad for you, and that's where the difference lies. It is on you as a parent to provide for your kid, and if that means that you need to act a certain way at your job so that you can stay employed, that is what you gotta do. It's not on us to make sure that you have a steady source of income so that you can keep your kids fed. That's on you. This whole apology just comes across as victim blaming and pushing the responsibility back on the audience for being upset because he wants to sit here and talk ignorant with no repercussions. And he wants to sit here and make a comment about, you know, people are coming for his character. Let's talk about your character for a second. First of all, this is definitely not the first time that he's been in the public eye for some controversy. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I don't really keep up with DaBaby. I'm not a fan at all. This is honestly the third time I'm hearing about him in my life, besides when he did that collaboration with Dua Lipa and when he punched one of his fans. So you want to talk about character, buddy? Your character ain't that good to start with, at least not from where I'm sitting. It doesn't look like it. Beyond his whole unnecessary homophobic rant, for him to go on stage with Tory Lanez after Meg Thee Stallion, that is just so ignorant. You know, I don't know what the whole point of that was. I don't know if they thought they were dunking on Megan or whatever. You know, I bet they was probably cheesing, giggling backstage. I don't doubt it. What did you really achieve with that? You're just corny. After I read about that, I needed to drink a whole glass of water because all I could taste was salt. Like, that is just straight salty right there. First of all, Tory Lanez, don't even get me started on him. He's even more irrelevant than DaBaby. So let's break it down. Essentially what you did is you brought her abuser on stage and that's it. There's no other reason for you to do that other than to taunt someone. And that's really the best that you can do to get a one-up on someone, because here's the thing. Meg Thee Stallion is popping off. DaBaby, who? I don't listen to his music, I'm gonna be honest. The only thing I heard from him was that collaboration with Dua Lipa, and honestly, if that's any indication of the rest of his music, I'm sorry, but I'm so confused about why that is like a top charting song right now. It just wasn't it. The original Levitating was just fine, and honestly, DaBaby, this coming from someone that stutters, this coming from someone that can't freestyle, your flow is garbage, at least in that song. If that's any indication of the rest of your music, your flow is garbage. So I'm gonna need you to tone down, because all you're really doing is out here making yourself look like a clown. Tory has no career, he's been throwing that out, and you're right there behind him, so you need to watch yourself. Megan is popping off, you know, she's showing no signs of slowing down. I don't know what you thought you did bringing her abuser on stage, but all you really did was show us, A, you really are trash. B, your career is floundering, because if I knew that I was somebody and that I was still popping, I would not associate with someone like the likes of Tory Lanez. That's just not good look. I'm just really trying to get it through my head, like what you really thought you were accomplishing with that. You probably made her upset for a minute, and that's really all you did. I don't know, that whole statement really just pissed me off. This is how I can tell that he doesn't have a good PR team working for him or anything like that, because they would not have let him release that hot garbage fire and think that that was an acceptable apology, because it's not. Like I said, the whole thing just comes across as victim blaming. It really doesn't seem like he took anything that anyone said to heart and really considered what people were saying, and it was really all just about him and how he felt. He really wanted to sit here and say that it wasn't his intent to offend. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it now. When you're a public figure especially, you can't just be wilding out saying whatever you want. It does not matter what your intent is. You need to be conscious of how what you say can be perceived, because especially as someone with as big of a platform as his own, so you have almost 20 million followers, and you want to tell me that not a single one of them is LGBTQ+. You really felt okay saying what you said, not considering the fact that millions of people, millions of your own fans, millions of people that put food on the table for you, you had no consideration for how your words would impact how they feel. Like, I'm sorry, but you don't get to have that luxury as a public figure. You don't. I will always stand by public figures in certain extent. They have a right to not be harassed by paparazzi. They have a right to still be treated like people. Like, you're not a commodity. You're not an object, and I'll respect that. You're being given a platform. Your voice is being projected to millions of people. You need to be responsible with that. You can't just speak out your neck and say whatever you want. I mean, I suppose you can, but then you can't sit there and get mad when you face consequences for it. And I'm sorry, but someone really needs to humble you. You need an ego check or something, because I don't know who you thought you were doing what you did to Megan, coming on stage with Tory Lanez, her abuser, right after she performed. But like I said, it was just straight up ignorant. You didn't achieve nothing. You probably made her upset for all of 5 minutes, and then she moved on with her life. And what do you have to show for it? You're losing fans, you're losing sponsorships, and I'm sorry, but it's very obvious that you and Tory is just mad for whatever reason that Megan is the shit, and you're clearly not. We can all read through this. We all have eyes. We all can see what's going on. You're not fooling any of us. Well, that's my video for today. I just wanted to sit down and scream at the camera and beat my face, honestly. So I got that out my system. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to go ahead and leave a thumbs up down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back shortly with a new one. Bye.